Few weeks ago we were talking together about the Vistra company, how fast it's actually growing in the 2024 and that it's growing much faster than Nvidia, about which everybody's talking since the AI boom. And today we are going to talk together about the Palantir, the stock that is growing even faster than Vistra in recent weeks, and even though it's not even the fastest growing stock of 2024 yet, it easily could be. So let's take a look together how much of a bubble the Palantir actually is, whether it could even be called a bubble, and let's compare the numbers of those three companies, the Nvidia, Vistra and the Palantir, between each other. So let's dive in. Okay, so let's take a look on the numbers. Let's start how much those companies grew in the 2024. As you can see, the Nvidia is up 197% since the start of the year. Vistra is up 271%, while Palantir is up 309%. Ladies and gentlemen, this is how the chart of the Palantir looks since the start of the year. Just look at this, and when we will switch it for the monthly candles, look on the November one. This is insane. Just in November, Palantir made 55%. By the way, we are just in the half of the month so far. Okay, so we are going back for the numbers. As you can see, the Palantir is growing the fastest. But what is the market cap of the companies? So when we will take a look on this, we can see that Nvidia has market cap of almost $3.5 trillion US dollars, while the Vistra is the smallest of them all with only around the 50 billion US dollars, while Palantir is 3 times bigger than the Vistra with 150 billion US dollars. So here we can see that it would be almost impossible for Nvidia to grow 300% at this size, but at the same time we can see that the Vistra and the Palantir has still space to grow, even though Vistra is working in so much harder conditions. So this is the market cap. Let's take a look on the PE ratio of each of those stocks. As you can see, the PE ratio of the Nvidia is at the moment at 66.66, what is a lot. Simply said, it's really a lot. When we will take a look on the Vistra, we can see that even though it grew 271% just since start of the year, its PE ratio is only on the level of the 26.7, what is of course quite a lot on the company in the utility sector, but it just shows how the Vistra could actually rise with the profits and earnings and everything into the market capitalization together with the stock price growth. And lastly, we got here Palantir, where the PE ratio is insane 333. This is why a lot of people calling it to be a bubble. Maybe you recall few years back there was a meme stock, the GameStop, where the price basically rose from 5 to 120 in a few days span, and the PE ratio rised like a crazy. As you can see at the top, it had a level somewhere around the 100 PE ratio. Maybe slightly more, maybe slightly less. The point is, the 100 PE ratio is a lot. For example, Apple as a giant has 37 PE ratio. Okay, and the Coca-Cola, for example, has, let's take a look, the Coca-Cola has 25. Okay, so as you can see, the 25-30 is for the growing or established company quite good number. But for the company that is just like growing, basically, the 333 is huge. This is why everybody is calling it a bubble. But take a look on the another numbers, okay? Let's take a look on the forward PE. That means how much PE would be when the new earnings should come as they are expected. As we can see, the Nvidia's forward PE is 33, so much better. For the Vistra 21, much better. And for the Palantir 141. What is much better than 333, but it's still high PE ratio. But PE ratio will not tell you everything. Let's take a look, for example, on the Palantir's Q3 earnings. And here we can see that just in last year, the Palantir rose by 30%. Simply said, if every year Palantir would rise by 30%, it could easily drop to those kind of PE ratios in few years. Now the question is whether the Palantir is able to rise so quickly for so many years in a row. The one thing that could actually help Palantir to rise much faster than, for example, Vistra or Nvidia is the low Capex levels. Basically, as I will reveal now, the Palantir has minimal Capex, what means their capital expenditure is at a bare minimum, what means when they want to grow, they don't need to spend so much extra capital to grow. For example, if Nvidia would like to grow much more, they would need to build new factory, they would need to build new chips or new research and development or whatever else. That means in case they would want to grow, they would have to increase their capex much more just to be able to rise. At the Vistra it's the same situation and even worse at the Capex than at the Nvidia. In case Vistra would like to increase their earnings or whatever else, they need to build new power plants, new infrastructure and everything connected with it. While Palantir, in case they want to grow, they have minimum capex, what means that while the revenue of the Vistra, for example, and the Palantir would double, the Palantir's gross profit would be much bigger than the one at the Vistra. By what I'm not trying to say that the Vistra is the bad one or the bad to invest or whatever else. No, this video is definitely not any financial advice. By all of this, I'm just trying to justify why the Palantir might be on those levels of PE ratio while it doesn't need to be a bubble. Okay, let's continue. Let's take a look on another numbers, the short float. This means how many percent of the stocks are on the short positions. That means how many percent of the people owning the stocks actually believes that the price will drop instead of rise. And as we uncover this, we can see that Nvidia has something around the 1% of the short float, what is completely okay. Vistra has 2.8%, what is quite okay as well. And Palantir has 4.17%, what as well is not bad number at all. I believe there were much more short positions open at the Palantir, but when you have something like this, you can't sit on the short position for a long period of time. For example, the Apple has short float on the level of the 0.88. What means that is not really far from the Nvidia, but it's not so much lower than at the Palantir. Okay, and lastly, let's take a look on the insider own. That means how many of the company actually are held by the insiders. That means director or management board or whatever else. This very often signs how much the insiders trust its company. So let's take a look. And as we can see, the Nvidia's insiders hold the 4% of the company. The Vistra's insiders own only 0.81% of the company, while the Palantir's insiders hold still 10% of the company. But on the other side, when we will take a look on how much the insiders are actually buying or selling the stocks, we can see that in last years they are in majority only selling the stocks. As you can see, in the last 5 years, total buys of the stocks by the insiders were only on the level of the 1.5 million, while the total sales of the stocks were on the level of almost $6 billion. So this might be the bad sign, but at the same time it might just mean that some of the board members had too many stocks and just want to lower their position at least a bit, while the Palantir stock price is on its all-time highs. For example, when we'll take a look on the Nvidia, this is not completely different story, it's actually almost identical. Only around 800,000 total buys and more than 3.7 billion in sales. So this is not really a big thing for the Palantir, and when we'll take a look on the Vistra, here it is a little bit better. Total buys of 21 million and total sales of 1.5 billion. So basically it's almost the same. As you can see, it's really not a big deal. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we went through the basic numbers of all of those three stocks which are growing rapidly in the 2024. So let me know in the comment section which of those three is your favorite and whether the Palantir has actually the chance to be the fastest growing stock at the end of the year. And in case you like this kind of content, to going through the numbers of the companies and compare each other and so on, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe as well, so that I know I should continue in this kind of content as well. Okay, but for today, that's gonna be all. Thanks for watching, have a nice day, and see you all at the next video. Goodbye.